Hi, this is Caitlin,
This is Gabry.
and welcome back to AvengeGirls and Friends. Kind
This
of.
is
This is like a mini-sode.
yeah, our very first minisode, a special episode because the Avengers 4 trailer came out today, the day
Yeah.
we're recording this,
Yes.
and so we obviously wanted to talk about it.
And what a trailer it is. Okay, that's kind of a lie because because it like is not too long and it yeah, literally everything that happens in it, I think, happens in the first like 5 minutes of the movie, besides the Clint Tasha thing. That
And I
probably
feel
happens a bit
like
later.
and I feel like you're a very good theorizer when it comes to stuff like this, so I would
Thank
not be
you.
surprised if that was 100% true.
Well, it's also just like me thinking of like how I would write this and like narratively speaking, it just makes sense. But also knowing how they've done trailers in the past, and also
That's true.
knowing like it's Marvel. They're not gonna. I'm sure actually half of the stuff that happens in this trailer actually won't even be in the movie.
Right, because
Like
that's what happened with Infinity War, right?
that's exactly what happened in Infinity War. So in my opinion, this is more just a trailer that they were like, here, we'll give them a little bit. Here's like Tony for half the trailer and some quick scenes that probably happen in like the first 2 minutes. And here's the trailer title, and oh my god, yay, we got the
I'm
title.
I'm sorry. All I can think of is for some reason when you were like, "We'll give them a little bit," it was John Mulaney here. Take a little. We'd
Take
rather
a
you watch
little.
this in the house than do it illegally.
That's 100% what it was, though. They're like, we know you've been leaking stuff. Have a little here. It's called Endgame after all, even though the Russos said it wasn't going to be Endgame. They're fucking trolls, which I like appreciate a little bit because
Yeah,
like they have to in some respects they have to kind of play this game. On the
yeah,
other hand, how dare you?
yeah. But you called it though.
Did I?
Yes, your tweet about your favorite
Oh.
what did you say? Your favorite Avengers movie is Avengers Endgame by Taylor Swift. So like technically, I'm gonna say you
I
called
kind
it.
of called it. It was Endgame was one of the ones that like at first I didn't want it, but it sounded believable. And then all the other ones started coming out like Annihilation and like Infinity Gauntlet and Avengers Forever, and it's just like no. They were all so cheesy and just
I
didn't sound
know.
like
I
what they would have.
am a little bit disappointed it wasn't Avengers Eterna because I thought that would have been awesome.
That would have
But
been cool.
Endgame is pretty cool.
It like makes sense to me that like because oh my God, I'm sorry, Mr. I can't pronounce your name, but Kevin Feige. I don't know how to pronounce his
Feige.
name.
I think
Is
it's
it Feige?
Feige. I thought so.
Okay, Mr. Kevin. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at pronunciation in general. For the first 24 years of my life, and I am 24 years old, I pronounced vinyl as vinyl. So
Caitlin, for God's sake.
so it's just I'm just bad at these things. Anyways, Mr. Kevin is what I will call you. He he said that he's like said from, this movie onwards, or actually after this movie, like starting with Far From Home, Spider-Man, they won't necessarily be grouped in the phases anymore. They're going
Oh,
to
okay.
be, yeah, like it's this is like such an end of an era across multiple like different facets. Like it's the end of the original six Avengers in theory,
Hmm.
the end of the phases. It's the end of the MCU literally as we know it. So I like that Endgame kind of encompasses all of that, if that makes
That's
sense.
true. It really does.
Yeah. The only more like on the nose they could have gone was like Avengers end of an era, but that's like too much, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Endgame is more succinct. I think it works a lot better.
And both Doctor Strange and Tony said it, which I also love.
Yes, I love when titles get name dropped. That's
Yes,
awesome.
so good. And that part in Age of Ultron is one of my favorite parts when Tony, I guess prophesized the existence of Avengers Endgame. But that's like one of the best moments. I forget
I
how
like
exactly how it goes, but where, Steve is like, we're supposed to do this together, and Tony's like, yeah, well, what if we lose? And Steve's like, we'll do that together too. Oh my God.
yeah.
We're all in this together. Do, do, do. That's yeah. That's how
Dance
I
break.
feel.
No,
I feel like a dance break.
that's that's a reasonable reaction, I think. Unlike my reaction this morning because I literally woke up to your tweet being like, "It's here." And then I watched
Well, I
it
felt like I had
before
to
I even
warn
got
you
out of bed.
because, like, I'm really glad because two of my friends, shout out to Sammy and Juliet, they like sent me it and were like, just so you know, like, here it is, it's out. Don't like, the implication is like, don't go on Twitter until you
Right,
watch it.
right, yeah. I'm
And I
glad you
wanted to do
did
the same
then.
for you because as soon as I did go on Twitter, it was everywhere. Like, there were no
Yeah,
spoiler warnings, you know what I mean? Which
right.
is fair because it's only a trailer. And like we said earlier, it
Nothing
probably, yeah,
actually
nothing actually really happened. But let's talk about what did happen. I think the main thing that we all want to talk about is Clint.
Yes, my
He's
angel, he's back.
back. I
When are
love
Hawkeye and I gonna go for coffee together? I'm just
I
wondering.
think that's what you deserve,
It is.
to be honest. He looks okay, he looks really not good actually.
No, he
Really,
looks
he doesn't look
bad.
like he's
I
doing
loved him,
well.
but oh,
Uh,
he has been through some things, I think.
which like again we knew this since he was coming back as Ronan, so we like or I say we as in people who have been following the leaks and
So not
theories.
me.
For not so I'll just use I guess. I have theorized or kind of guessed that like he would come back not doing so hot because we knew like we got leaks that he was gonna be Ronan. You like sent me, you were like, was that person with the knives Clint?
I wasn't
And
sure, and then I was like, wait, is he assembling his bow? Because I wasn't actually sure. It was too dark for me to tell.
they're not, it's not the bow, it's not knives, they're swords, they're
Oh,
katanas.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
'cause he has assumed the superhero title of Ronin, which he does in the comics as well, which is basically like he's not Hawkeye anymore. He uses swords to fight. And obviously it's pretty clear, especially since Steve he has that line where he's like in the trailer, we've all lost like friends, we've all lost family, and he says it right before I think Hawkeye like turns around.
Right, so it's like
So
implied Hawkeye lost his entire secret
yeah,
family
yes. Goodbye, Velma and
that came out of
three
nowhere
children.
anyway.
We'll get to that when we get to Age of Ultron.
Anyway, can I just say for the record really quick that like the name Ronan confuses me only because isn't that Lee Pace's character's name in Guardians of the
Okay.
Galaxy?
Ronan and
Yeah.
Ronin.
Okay, listen.
So yeah, it
The
literally
average
alphabetical letters.
person is not gonna distinguish
Yeah.
it, I
Which
feel.
my like theory is that they probably won't actually call him Ronin like in the movie. It'll be like how Steve was kind of Nomad, but no one actually called him Nomad.
Thank
Does that
God.
make
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's my working theory.
Okay. I
They have
mean,
enough to
I
do,
think that would I think that would work. I think that
right?
makes sense.
Yeah. Because you're right. Like that would be way too confusing for people who remember Ronan. Ronan. I see. I pronounce both the same way because probably because
Exactly,
of
because
the
we have
Midwest.
I was gonna say we have terrible Midwest accents. It's just it sounds the same
Ronan
every
and Ronan.
day. Yeah.
There is a difference in what I just said, contrary to probably most of the world's belief, but it's fine. Um, anyways, Clint, that whole Clint Tasha vibe, I'm still such a fan of the two of them. I know it'll never happen, probably. Marvel, please.
They
I
never have
know.
anything good. We should have learned this by now, and yet here we
Oh,
are.
and here we are, still like, we love Marvel movies.
We're fools. We're gluttons for punishment.
Oh, can we talk about the like Steve Peggy shot?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, because I have a bone to pick with that.
sure.
I just like he's moved on by now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in my mind, he's moved on since Winter Soldier. Like
Hmm.
he's come to terms with the fact that like she has lived an entire life and has had loved and had kids and etc. And
Yeah.
then she passes away in Civil War and he gets with Sharon and like that's he's moved on.
Hmm.
I get it, Marvel, that you want to like put it in our faces that MCU Steve's apparently super straight. That sounds fake
But
to me
okay.
personally. And also, we get it. You don't need to like shove it in our faces. The
Yeah.
only flip side of that is if they're doing it to foreshadow him dying because it's the same exact like scene in First Avenger before he
Oh
goes down to
crap,
the
yeah.
ice.
I was thinking a different foreshadowing thing, but oh, that's probably more accurate and
What
way
was
worse.
your
Just
guess?
I don't know, because there are all these theories about time travel and everything. I'm like, oh, are we gonna go find Peggy again?
I wish.
But probably not.
I wish we could get Peggy back because
I love her.
that would be more interesting than Steve just like, I don't know, pining away and them foreshadowing his death.
Yes.
Anyways.
Anything would be better than that.
Anyways. Yeah, I agree. Oh, okay. Gabby, you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you're gonna
Is
need to
that like,
see it.
is it pivotal?
I would
I
argue
saw
yes.
something on Twitter about Scott's van.
Yes, that's what I was gonna talk about
Okay.
next. I would argue that it is pivotal and that you
Okay.
should see it before you see this movie.
I have a couple months.
Yeah, you can do it. You can make it work. Because Scott shows up with his van, and in his van is a way into the quantum realm.
Okay.
Um, and if the time travel theories are true, and whatever, if the leaks are true, I don't know actually if anyone leaked this or if it's just people guessing.
Or
But
are we
anyways,
just all getting all hyped up over
we're getting
nothing?
hyped. We are perhaps getting too hyped up. But if the time travel theories are true, it's probably and it is leaks. I forgot it is leaks because people have kind of hinted that the quantum realm bleeds into time. And actually, what's his name? Hank Pym, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym in the first Ant-Man movie basically says as much, so it's not really a leak. They've confirmed in the past that when you get down to the quantum level, time and space become irrelevant. And
Oh,
Ant-Man and the
right.
Wasp
Okay.
kind of, yeah.
I
Ant-Man
kind of
and the
remember
Wasp
that now.
does work with that.
Okay.
So if they can use the quantum realm to time travel, it's important that Scott does have his van with him.
Yes. Okay.
And I just have to say, I like the idea that it's going to be like Scott, laying like figuring out all this shit. I know a lot of people on Twitter are like, oh my God, Scott's gonna like save the universe. And like, I don't think obviously he's gonna be the one to save it, but I think they're not too far off. Like he definitely is gonna have like a pivotal role
Oh
in
yeah,
this movie.
he's gonna help.
Yeah.
Maybe he can like, you know, get as tall as the Sears Tower and fight Thanos. That'd be sweet.
Or I also like the theory that, well, not theory because this is not going to happen, but the the like joke theory that he just gets really small and like gets into Thanos and then gets really big and like explodes.
Oh my God.
That out.
I could get behind that, I think.
Yeah, right. Also, on the same kind of like line, there's the part. Okay, so Steve is, I don't know I don't know what I'm gonna do if this doesn't work out. LOL. Except he's not really LOLing.
No.
But the costumes that they're wearing, and the way that they're talking makes that it seem like they're going to. It's like right before like the movie really starts, like right before they enact some kind of plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely happens after they find Scott because they're in new uniforms.
Oh, okay. Good eye.
Yeah, and they're not when Scott arrives, right?
Yeah.
And so that's all I have figured out of that they're about to go on an adventure, probably with Scott. Maybe it's just Scott and Steve. But anyways, so this is pulling from a lot of different like leaks and theories. Some pictures were leaked, I think last January, or so back in January, of Scott with a little thing on his hand, like a device on his hand, Steve in his Avengers 2012 uniform with a thing on his hand, and
I think
Tony,
I remember this.
older Tony with a thing on his hand, and then the Hulk, I think, and they were like at the battle in New York. Or that's what people were guessing because at the same day they also saw Loki in the same like handcuffs and mouth thing.
Yeah,
anyway,
I remember that.
Yeah. So my like working and pulling all those like theories together, I just think it would be really funny and terrible if Steve and Tony's first meeting, like after not seeing each other for all the time, Scott Lang is the only other person there. He's just there in the background, like, I have no idea what's going on or why you guys are fighting.
Why are you guys mad?
Why are you guys crying and hugging each other now? Oh, it's okay. And he like goes in for a group hug. Anyways, like, I do think it's going to be like the three of them for a small portion of the movie. We'll see.
That would be cool. I could get behind that. On a related note, what he says,
Yes.
the it's got to work because it's the only plan I've got. That feels very Steve to me.
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like he strategizes really well ahead of time, but then he has just enough of that like residual I don't know, like bravado. Remember, I mean, this is the kid who was like a twig and was, fighting people twice his size, so he's got enough of that in him to like go ahead with it even if there's a chance it's not going to work, and enough to believe that it will. And so I think those work well together. My only other thing that concerns me is how they top this. Because obviously Marvel is going to continue after this. Whether or not we want it to, that's not up to us, obviously. And it'll be in a different form than we expect with different people than we know. But the franchises as big as this, or not even big franchises, sometimes even like smaller series, they get to a point where they've gone on long enough and then they start having to do really convoluted things to maintain the audience's interest and keep them emotionally engaged. And I just think Thanos wiping out half of all life in the universe.
Yeah.
What villain do you go on to after that? Everything is going to be so underwhelming after that. And
yeah.
I worry they're gonna fall into the trap of doing like more and more outlandish things
like Supernatural,
because they went too big too fast. We've all made a happy birthday sign. I'm not worried for this movie. I'm worried for whatever group movie comes after this, because they continue to get bigger and bigger, and at some point, like, there's like, what is it called, like a event horizon, maybe. Like,
this is the event horizon for Marvel, and now the black hole's gonna suck everything up after this.
And then people are gonna get mad. They're gonna be like, this is boring compared to the Avengers. I'm like, because they can't keep doing like that catastrophic of things. They gotta tone it down for a little bit.
Okay, two things. Arguably, like, one, like, are they even gonna have Avengers films after this? Or is the Avengers so tightly like tied to those original 6 and they're like, little offshoots that you can't even do another Avengers? You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Branding wise, I don't know. Secondly, I feel like they're gonna just really try to bank off of the Fox deal coming up, which I assume is going through eventually. And so all the big team ups might be like with X-Men or Fantastic Four, that kind of thing in the future. But that makes me nervous too, because like you get to the point where there's just too much going on in your universe, and it's hard to keep it all straight.
Yeah, that too.
Which kind of pulls into you read the thread that I made on Twitter, right?
Yeah, probably.
About my theories and stuff. I generally think that, like, after this movie, something in it is going to happen where, like, they can go to multiple universes or, like, kind of retcon certain stuff, because it would make more sense that way in order to bring on in new characters, bring in these new properties, and still be able to be like, well, Spider-Man's still a part of this universe, but we also have, like, Wolverine over here, for example, and they're all coexisting. And so in order to keep track of all that, you kind of have to, like, push them away from each other instead of bring them together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Like they've done in the Avengers. I don't know if I explained that 100% correctly, but
no, it makes sense to me. Sounds good. Do you want to talk about really quick about family? 06 family?
Yes, that's exactly, actually, I was just looking at that note that I wrote down. Yeah, so one last thing is that
this is like when we graduated from college, but this time our characters are dying.
Yeah. Hey, we don't know if they're dying. Although I do have to say, if any of the 06 Avengers do die, you best bet we're going to be making jokes about that in our group.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sorry, Gabry, if Cap does die, I'm going to be joking a little bit about it, being like, I can't believe Gabry's dead. And you're going to be like, I'm still here. I can still hear her voice.
Yes. That's all I've ever wanted in life. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to play my part.
But anyways, I'm very emo because as you guys probably know from listening to this, like this, the original six Avengers have kind of been important to us and been with us for a very long time, since, 2012, since the movie came out. And to finally see them, to see it end, to see this phase end, it's like wrecking me on the inside. Like, it's going to be so different from here on out. And I'm still going to like it, but I don't know if I'll like it as much as I love those original six kids.
Yeah, you're gonna love it the same, but you're gonna love it differently. I
100%.
mean, I'm putting
Yeah.
it in like really, really simplified terms, but
But
it's
you're right. Yeah.
yeah,
I really appreciate that this trailer for, it again, it didn't show much, but I appreciate it that it focused just on the original six Avengers. Like there was a little part with Nebula and Scott, obviously, but other than that, it was just the original Avengers, and I think that's what the movie is going to be focused on. It's going to be just, well, again, not just because Carol's going to be there and Rhodey and Nebula and Rocket, like I said, but I appreciate the focus on the original six because of that whole Endgame, end of the era thing we were talking about before. It's a good way to end it, a good way to go out, and I have confidence in this movie. That's all I gotta say.
that's very eloquent. I
Thanks.
got nothing.
You're like, wow, wow, Kate.
I can't follow that.
Anyways,
I think we'd like to hear what you guys think about the trailer. We hope you enjoyed listening to our thoughts, and we hope you listen to our next next official episode coming out next Friday on The Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2. And AvengeGirls out.